Construction stations.
What's up, folks? This is Steel. Welcome to History and Combat. Today I'm in the Nurnberg, a Tier 6 German light cruiser. I'm also in a division with Drinking 247 and a Fuso, and Captain Crit and an Aoba. We're on fault line, and it gets a little bit hectic in the beginning as the enemy gets pretty aggressive. We're also going to do some backcapping. In the meantime, I have a pretty good match, 6 kills. I actually even get some torps in, which is rare for this ship. But this is History and Combat, and I've got quite a bit of stuff to tell you today. Some of which you might know already, some of which you might not know. So let's get through the bullet points first. The Nurnberg was a Leipzig-class light cruiser of the Kriegsmarine. It was laid and launched in 1934, built by Deutschwerk out of Kiel, Germany. It first served during the pre-war intervention in Spain, which ironically is called the Spanish non-intervention. It served throughout World War II and ultimately ended up in Soviet hands after the Potsdam Conference. It served under the name Admiral Makarov until 1954 when it was decommissioned, and it's believed to be scrapped in 1959. If you add both those periods together, it makes it the longest serving major warship of the Kriegsmarine. But if you wanted to make a top 10 list of things the Nuremberg did in World War II, it would be about 4 things long. Firstly, when the war started, Germany moved to block Poland's fleet from escaping to Britain. This was largely a failing effort, though. No shots were fired, but interestingly enough, 3 DDs escaped, including the Bliskavica. Second, it sailed with the Tirpitz after the Germans declared war on the Soviet Union. They anticipated the Soviet Union to sortie their fleet, which they didn't. Thirdly, it spent the vast majority of the war as a training ship. Impressed so far? I wouldn't be surprised if you said no. But hold on. I did find one thing that the Nuremberg was involved in World War II that was somewhat interesting.
Oh, there it is, Minakaze.
I see Minakaze.
Tom, we gotta get this Minakaze.
On December 13th, 1939, the Nuremberg was used as a guinea pig. You see, up until that point, the war had been going on for about 3 months, and the German cruisers hadn't seen a single lick of combat.
He's gonna come to the other side now.
All I did was turn my turrets the whole time.
I know.
That's good.
So frickin'
We got enough attention on him.
The German destroyer fleet, on the other hand, had already been sent into harm's way 5 times, and December 12, 1939 was their 6th. 6 destroyers were ordered to sortie out on a round trip from the German Bight to Newcastle and back on a secret mission.
Oh my God, this Omaha beached and I can't shoot at him. Hurts me. Hurts my heart.
In the meantime, Admiral Wilhelm Marshall decided to send 3 cruisers, including the Nuremberg and her sister ship, the Leipzig, to rendezvous and escort those DDs through British submarine-infested waters.
I believe I didn't get a shot on him. Oh my God, this is horrible. I'm gonna get torped fucking empty on this side over here, fellas. Shit's getting real. And I can't get shit turned around.
The problem is, he knew that the cruisers were more vulnerable, but he did it anyway. And the reason? He didn't want the German destroyer crews to think that the cruisers were having it too easy.
Yeah, I gotta turn out and hope that he don't torp me. Oh, he's behind another.
So, if the cruisers were going to be used as guinea pigs, why were these DDs so important? Well, that's because on all 6 of those missions, they were carrying and deploying one of Germany's greatest early war weapons, their most advanced naval sea mines.
I'm not sure what this Cleveland's thinking, but I'll go head to head with him if he wants me to.
Yeah, he didn't make the best moves.
The first documented use of sea mines was actually in the 14th century and in China, where they used them against pirates. They were used in medieval Europe all the way through the American Revolution. Up until that point, they were just barrels or boxes filled with gunpowder and sent afloat. It wasn't until the 19th century when Russian engineer Pavel Schilling invented the first sea mine that used electric circuitry. It was that adaptation that turned mines from minor annoyances to some serious weapons, as they were used extensively during the Crimean War of 1854, as well as the American Civil War, where the USS Cairo became the first warship to ever be sunk by a mine.
Let's help out our BBs in the east, Tom.
Now I know all of you have heard that famous quote, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." It's in chat almost every other day at some point. Well, that was said by Admiral David Farragut during the US Civil War, but he wasn't referring to torpedoes. He was referring to mines. In this match, Drinking, Crit, and myself have just cleared the 1-2 line. But you can notice we are not pushing up. And the reason is, the enemy have pushed down the 7-8-9 line pretty hard. The reason why I'm pointing this out is because it's a mistake that a lot of inexperienced World of Warships players make. You see, this game isn't about gaining ground necessarily. It's about bringing your guns to bear and protecting your cap.
Yeah, that's where I'm heading. Because they got a lot heading to our cap for back cap. So I want to keep that Congo afloat.
All their destroyers are going out for quick or cap. Because
I know we just lost to Furutako in the east, but this Congo player did a really smart thing. Instead of pushing a bad position, the Congo turned around, used his speed, and is drawing the destroyers right into our guns.
they're going to run into is not going to be a phase for them.
During World War I, Germany laid 43,000 contact mines. They are documented to have sunk 497 merchant vessels. That's 1 million tons, folks. But if you think mines weren't that successful against warships, well, you're wrong. They sank 7 free dreadnoughts, 6 cruisers, and the brand new British battleship HMS Audacious.
Alright, I'm gonna get sandwiched here.
Mines seriously worried the British throughout World War I. And that trend continued into World War II as well, as the Germans had a secret weapon up their sleeve, a brand new mine, a magnetic mine.
Kansas! See it?
Now you're probably thinking that a magnetic mine feels when a steel ship is heading by and it starts getting sucked towards it. That's not necessarily the case, although that would be really cool. In reality, they used the disruption of the Earth's magnetic field when the ship passed overhead. On top of the magnetic mines, the Germans had tons of improved contact mines that they had been stockpiling through the interwar period.
Yeah, he did. He did. I'm planning on torps, though.
Did you ever play that PC game Minesweeper? Notice how the mines have those spikes sticking out of it. Well, those are contact mines. And those spikes, they were called Hertz horns, which were invented in 1870 and used extensively in World War I. By the time World War II came around, the Germans had improved that type of mine extensively. They were typically dropped from surface ships, but they were weighted, so they sank to the bottom, where the weight dropped off. That's when the mine itself would break off from the weight, rise back up to the surface, but it was attached to a mooring cable, which limited how far it could rise up. And the Hertz horns, that was actually a chemical detonation system.
So my 8-inch guns, when he's given broadside, AP was a taste, right? Oh shit.
This system allowed those mines to stay active for years, because the salty conditions prevented regular metal detonators from lasting very long. Fortunately for the British, they had experience clearing these contact mines throughout the course of World War I, and it's as simple as it gets. Drive 2 boats side by side with a steel cable in between them. As the cable sweeps across the mine, it cuts the mooring cable, and you have a guy with a rifle shooting the mine. Pretty simple. It was actually these kinds of mines that those destroyers were dropping off the coast of Newcastle on December 12th. But when the Nurnberg sortied out to escort those DDs back to safety, British submarine HMS Salmon was waiting for them. The Salmon launched 3 of its 6 aft torpedoes, striking the Nuremberg and the Leipzig. When the Nuremberg slowed to inspect the damage, the Salmon fired 3 more. And in a move straight out of World of Warships, I swear to God, the Nuremberg saw those torpedoes, hit full throttle, and dodged them. Unbeknownst to the crew on the Nuremberg, about 2 weeks before, on November 21st, a lone Heinkel 59 was spotted flying above the Thames estuary. When AA opened up, the Heinkel 59 freaked out, and a long cigar-shaped object dropped out and got stuck in the mud.
This is not good. I thought I was... Oh my god. That was a miscalculation. Whoa, that's this. Kraken unleashed.
Means you unleashed the Kraken.
5 kills. I cut throttle and gave a broadside to the battleship thinking I was in smoke, and I was at a dead stop, and he did a full salvo on me, and he hit me for 24,000.
We've destroyed an enemy battleship.
This object turned out to be what the British had hoped it would be, the German magnetic mine. The British immediately sent out Lieutenant Commanders John Overy and Roger Lewis, and just like the movie Hurt Locker, they went out, disarmed it, and retrieved it. That's when they found out the reason it didn't explode, because the Heinkel 59 crew, in their haste, had failed to enable their sneaky failsafe. In this match, I'm stoked. That was my first Kraken. I got torpedoes, I got citadels. There's one more ship out there. I'm going to try to grab him too.
In the very beginning of the match. Well, that was the actual Minakaze there. There he is. He's pissed. He's like, my ship is so damn slow. I hate battleships.
Anyway, that magnetic mine was sent back to British researchers who reversed engineered it and tried to figure out ways in which they could defeat it. The first thing they did is they made all minesweepers have wooden hulls. The second thing, they just copied the same technique as previously. This time they just magnetized the cable. Then they designed a 2,900-ton mine-destroying ship that had a 500-ton forward-facing electromagnet. That didn't work particularly well. The coolest thing they did was they put a 2.5-ton magnetic ring around a Wellington bomber and had it fly above the water surface. The problem is, when the mines detonated, it would blow up into the Wellington. The final and most effective solution was developed by British professor B.P. Haig out of the Royal Navy College and Canadian chemist Charles Goodeve.
Oh.
They developed a double L sweep. Basically, it was 2 ships towing magnetized cables, one long and one short, with electrodes at the end, 200 yards apart, and it shot electric pulses between them. Every magnetic mine blew up. Between September and November of 1933, the British had already lost 200,000 tons of merchant shipping. That represented 14% of the total they would lose through the entire war. So on the day the Nurnberg limped back to port, the British had in their hands one of the keys to their survival.
I gotta start shooting good pool.
What's up, everybody? This is Steel from the Steelcast channel. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to like, comment, or subscribe down below. Check me out on Twitch at Steelcast27, and check out The Taste on YouTube for map strategies, commentary, and gameplay. Thanks again.